NFC Divisional round. I didn't think as much of the Buccaneers-Rams game. I was a fan of the way it went. I love that it went down to the end of the game. But there was something missing. I guess I've been cultured to love explosive offense, and there wasn't a ton of explosive offense in this game. Somewhat because Tom Brady was missing a lot of his weapons, somewhat because Matthew Stafford has been inconsistent at best the last few weeks. But he comes through in the clutch. Deep throw to Cooper Kupp over the top, sets up the game-winning field goal. Questions now are the Rams' chances against the upstart 49ers, and where does Tom Brady go from here?
This is wild. I will say though, as much as Stafford has had his issues a little bit in the postseason, he's been, I think, better than what I thought he was going to be coming in from really no playoff experience when he was in NFL Siberia and Detroit. I feel like I'm calling like multiple cities a week Siberia versions of their sport, but that's a conversation for later. But I think the big things for me when that game were, it was more so about the collapse of the Rams in clutch time than it was like anything else. Cam Akers had the fumble. Cooper Kupp, I think, had the fumble on the sideline as well. There was a massive case of lemon booty for the LA Rams that week. And I just think that's something that you have to watch going into this week. The 49ers game was weird to me just because, sorry, we'll talk about that in a second. But Brady, for example, people are saying that he might retire. I don't think he's going to retire. I don't know about you, but I think Brady's the master of social media right now from an NFL standpoint. He is the best social media game of any NFL player right now, not even close. And I think they're doing the whole like, oh my God, is Tom Brady gonna retire? There's no shot that Tom Brady goes out without having the ability for the NFL to pay him his dues of saying like, thank you, Tom. It's the retirement tour. It's what Kobe got. Brady absolutely wants that. He's going to wait and he's gonna do this dramatic announcement where everyone thinks he's retiring, but he comes back for one final round. But look, I think the Rams are going to be fine. My Brady hate aside, if you saw me typing in all caps on Twitter this weekend, I think the Rams are going to be fine. This is the best possible matchup for them. If you told them, could you play the 49ers or the Packers, they choose the 49ers all day because they're going to be in there getting Jimmy G all day. And yes, that defense is going to be tough for the 49ers, but they'd rather play that defense with their weapons than I think go against the offense of the Packers and have to solve for that.
This year, the Rams, obviously in the division with the Niners, played the Niners twice. The final scores of those games were 31-10 and 27-24. Both 49ers wins. I believe one of those was a Trey Lance win, right, not a Jimmy Garoppolo. So the 49ers know what they're getting themselves up against. I will say the 49ers are playing the best football of any team that is still in the playoffs right now, including the Chiefs. The Chiefs showed on defense, even against a monster like the Bills. I thought the Chiefs defense showed some real flaws. I think the 49ers are playing a very good run control, clock control game on offense. Their defense is outstanding right now. And the way they took it to Dallas, who is a high-powered offense and a turnover-rich defense, the fact that they absolutely smacked Dallas in that game is a showing of just how hot they are. And this is another story of a wild card team making it in the NFL playoffs, getting hot at the right time, like so many wild cards before them.
Are you picking them?
I'm
picking them to win.
I am this close. I'm not going to say it yet. I am very close to saying the 49ers, who are 3.5-point underdogs in LA. They've already beat LA twice. One of the hardest things to do is beat a team 3 times in a season.
Yep.
Matter of fact, you and I have had that conversation about the Steelers and the Ravens multiple times.
Yep.
It's so much harder for a divisional opponent. But this is a team without Robert Woods right now. This is a team that is showing massive flaws on defense. They have Jalen Ramsey, and if they don't get to the quarterback, their defense is not as good as advertised. The rest of their secondary has been, let's put it this way, Eric Weddle's starting for them. Weddle is starting for them. Okay, that tells you how the rest of their secondary has been, and he wasn't that good in that game against Tampa Bay. I will say this, talking on the Tom Brady front, he said he was going to play until he's 45. That was his words when he was in New England. Okay, things change, obviously. He's 44 right now. You're absolutely right. This dude is not retiring on a loss like that, where they almost came back 28-3 from the Falcons, 27-3 from the Rams. Everyone was calling it out. I can't believe he brought that team back. And let's not forget that they're without Chris Godwin injured,
Yep.
Mike Evans nagging injury, Gronkowski's had nagging injuries,
Antonio
offensive
Brown.
line, Antonio Brown out because you can call it CT, you can call it crazy, whatever you want to call it. Tristan Wirfs, his main pass blocker on that line was inactive for that game. That was a massive announcement an hour before the game. I can't believe they knew Wirfs was going to be out before at that point. The fact that all of that happened, plus, again, Fournette, highly ineffective since coming back from the injury. All of those things put together, and Tom Brady still brought his team down from a 27-3. Imagine when he gets weapons next year, because you know they're not going to rest on their laurels.
I've had more than half of my life has been filled with Tom Brady, and I'm
getting
tired.
one more year. You're getting one more year, brother. While your team sits there with Dwayne Haskins, Mason Rudolph, and whatever rookie they decide to draft, that's what they're going to do for the Steelers. Just remember that. While you're doing that, Tom Brady is somewhere getting piece after piece fed to him as another weapon.
I hate it here.
But yeah, let's talk about the other side of this. We mentioned the 49ers beating the Packers. Bad weather game. That shouldn't be an issue for the Packers, but their offense did not show up. Aaron Rodgers did not have a great game. Their running game, surprisingly, what was good for them, Aaron Jones had like 120 receiving yards in the first half. Somehow or another, they went away from Aaron Jones in the second half, started throwing the ball around, and that's where the 49ers decided, hey, we can do this. 49ers, again, ball control offense. Deebo Samuel is just
God.
Slowly and surely, I think everybody before this season thought Brandon Ayuk was that guy. I obviously did. I drafted him in a couple of fantasy leagues, but as a receiver, Ayuk looks like that guy. Deebo Samuel has stepped up and turned into the next Cordarrelle Patterson, where he's a threat on the outside, he's a threat in the backfield, he's a threat pretty much everywhere. And we're seeing that more and more in the NFL copycat league, where you have that one player that you jump around the offense, which has been kind of exciting, kind of cool, things you don't see in the older days.
Well, it's what they tried to do with Percy Harvin when Percy Harvin came into the NFL, because Percy Harvin coming out of Florida played running back, he played wide receiver, he played literally anything you could do to get him the ball on offense. Percy Harvin was doing. Then obviously the migraine issues that he had really kept it from being a predominantly, good NFL player, where he was missing so much time. But when I see Deebo, it's a much more physical version. I mean, Percy was still jacked out of his mind, but he was a little bit shorter. Deebo's got a little bit more height to him. Deebo's also like not as good of a runner, I think, as Percy. Percy hit some of the greatest speed we've seen in a long time. But Deebo's what I think people thought Percy Harvin was going to be in the NFL. When it makes me also cry as an older person of like, what if Reggie Bush played today?
Yeah.
Like, can you just... It makes me sad. But yeah, the 49ers go as far as that defense and Deebo Samuel can carry them. There is no shot, though, that I trust Jimmy G. Everybody that's talking about quarterback wins and all these different things, stop it. Jimmy G is just objectively not a quarterback that's going to win you a game. And Shanahan has done a fantastic job around scheming him and doing things right to make sure that he puts him in a position that I have to throw the ball deep. But more often than not, Jimmy G has left some terrible throws out there. And I'm like, thank God that's not my team. I know I might have Mason Rudolph as a quarterback, but thank God that's not my team.
If I put the Rams and the Packers in the NFC Championship game, who'd you pick?
I went Rams. For my picks, I went Rams.
Did you?
For that one. Yeah.
So you think the Rams are a better team than the Packers? See, I think the other way. I think the Packers are a way better team than the Rams. I think that is showing just how well-oiled that San Francisco team is playing right now. I think that San Francisco team is going to surprise a lot of people this weekend. I think they're going to blow the Rams out of the water. I really do. I think they've got the defense. They know Cooper Kupp's coming. They've got the secondary to be able to cover him. They're not worried about Odell Beckham Jr. They've got a couple of big secondary people, something Green Bay does not have to match up against Odell. And let's be fair, all they have to do is feed it to Kittle. Green Bay is terrible against the tight end, has been terrible against the tight end, and they've got just enough wrinkles in that Shanahan offense. I do think San Francisco gets up big, up early, and then just grinds the clock down, because San Francisco's defense is better than LA's defense right now. right now. San Francisco is better. We'll call it Alabama versus Georgia. LA is Alabama. They've got the stars on their defense. San Francisco is Georgia. They're the more well-rounded defense. They don't have necessarily the stars. They do have some stars there, obviously, Bosa and those guys, but they are more well-rounded. They are better all over the place, and they play like it too. Whereas I think the Rams, I feel like the Rams play piecemeal. I think there's a lot of blown coverages in that backfield. I think San Francisco is going to take advantage of it.
I think we're going to see Jalen Ramsey have a definitive game either poorly or greatly here.
Yeah.
Jalen made some weird effort plays where like he was there, but he didn't do that like extra like gear that you usually see Jalen do where he makes a stunning play and you're like best corner in football.
Yep.
I really feel like I can't really bet too much against Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald has been a man possessed in these playoffs and just getting unbelievable pressure, even with 2 or 3 people guarding him. Von Miller's look good coming off the edge and the attempts that they've had him coming there too. I feel like this is going to come down to they're going to have to force San Francisco. I think it's a within 7-point game, so it'll be within 7 points. But I really think it's going to come down to Jimmy G having to make a throw, and I just don't trust him. I trust Stafford more than I trust Jimmy G. I'm going. Jimmy G makes a late mistake. Shanahan tries to have some cutesy little play, and the Rams end up winning because of that. That's where I'm going to go with. That's my prediction.
Last question before we move on to the AFC: is Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay to start next season?
No, he's going to be in Denver. I wholeheartedly think he's in Denver.
Denver is a fantastic place for him. I think they've got a lot of really good weapons. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Williams is in their backfield. They've got an aging defense, but a couple of good players. Surtain is on that defense, so would be an interesting landing spot for him. I don't think he'll be in Green Bay, even though LaFleur went out of his way to make sure everyone knew they want him back. Like that. Oh yeah, this organization wants Aaron Rodgers back. That's normally a sign of problem. I'm sorry, when you have to come out that early and be like, oh yeah, bring him back. That means you're not thinking you're going to get him back. And I think Green Bay is getting ready for that rebuild real soon.